Welcome to the College of Kinesiologists of Ontario's webinar on the Entry to Practice examination. Today's presentation will briefly touch on why professional regulation matters before turning to the exam format, preparing for the exam, and what to expect on exam day. We'll also look at the process for deferrals and requesting accommodations. We will conclude with next steps after passing the exam. Regulation is, at its core, oversight and governance of the profession. Regulation controls who can enter the profession and who can and cannot identify themselves or hold out as a member of the profession. This builds public confidence and trust in the profession and works to manage risks of harm to patients, clients, and the public at large. The College of Kinesiologists regulates the practice of kinesiology in Ontario. We are not a school, even though we are called a college. The mandate of the college is to protect the public, which means we advocate for the public interest rather than the profession itself. To fulfill its mandate as a regulator, the college sets and enforces the requirements for entry to the profession, such as degree requirements and the need to pass an exam before being allowed to practice. The college also develops rules and guidelines for kinesiologists' practice and conduct. For example, these include a code of ethics and standards for record keeping, fees, and obtaining consent. This slide is a summary of the membership's current reported areas of practice based on the 2024 Annual Renewal Survey. It is perhaps unsurprising that there are many identified areas of practice, as the kinesiologist scope of practice can be broad. The top row in this slide accounts for 65% of the profession. The Entry to Practice exam is offered twice per year, in the spring and in the fall. It is administered online and is remotely proctored by an invigilator. The exam is available in English and French. The exam is comprised of 170 to 180 multiple-choice questions, which includes both case-based and independent questions. There is only one correct answer for each question on the exam. Completion of the exam is a non-exemptable registration requirement. This means you must pass the exam before you can obtain a certificate of registration to practice kinesiology in Ontario. The exam is based on the kinesiologist's core competency profile, which describes the minimum expectations from kinesiologists at the entry to practice level, and what an entry-level practitioner should know and be able to do on day one of the job, regardless of their practice area. 25 to 30% of the questions on the exam are based on the practice standards and guidelines. All applicants should have a good understanding of the college's practice standards and guidelines prior to challenging the exam. The exam blueprint provides an outline of the exam and how each competency domain is scored. All of this information is also available on our website. The pass score for the exam is 450 on a scale from 100 to 700. All questions have the same weight, and results are reported as either pass or fail. Only applicants who fail the exam are provided a detailed report. If you fail, you have the right to request that your exam be rescored, but there is a fee associated with this. The pass score for the exam is set by the examination committee using two methods. The first, the modified Angoff method, requires each committee member to independently rate each question on the exam in terms of the minimally competent applicant. The ratings from all committee members are then collated and tabulated by a psychometrician to achieve the average rating per question. These ratings are then averaged to obtain the pass score for the total exam. The equating method compares applicants' performance on particular questions in one exam administration to the performance of those in previous administrations. The purpose of this is to gauge the relative difficulty of the current exam and the relative strength of the applicants. The college website provides a plethora of information on how applicants can prepare for the exam. Applicants are encouraged to review and familiarize themselves with the resources offered. And remember, don't be in a hurry. You can always postpone writing if you are not prepared. To successfully prepare for the exam, it is recommended that you use a personal computer and that you avoid using a work or school computer. This is due to programs running on the back end of organizational computers that often conflict with the Measure Learning Platform's security settings. If you still plan to use a work or school computer, check with your IT team to confirm that you can download and install programs. Also make sure that your computer has a webcam and properly functioning microphone. The proctor must be able to see and hear you while you are writing the exam. You must ensure you have a reliable internet connection. We strongly recommend you use a hardwired cable connection if possible. If you must use Wi-Fi, make sure it is nearby. We encourage you to choose a quiet, private, well-lit location that is free from other people or distractions to write the exam. You must also test at a hard surface like a desk or table. We also recommend that you test your computer equipment prior to the exam day on the Measure platform once registered. You are only allowed to use one computer screen on the day of the exam. Dual monitors are not permitted. You will need to review the equipment requirements to ensure that your computer is compatible with the exam software. We strongly recommend that your RAM and CPU be above the recommended minimum threshold. This is to avoid any potential technical issues during the exam. It is recommended that you have Google Chrome downloaded as your browser to access your CKO examination profile through Measure Learning. Please ensure that you have disabled the pop-up blocker. You must also download Measure Learning's Guardian Secure browser and Proctor Chat application prior to the exam. For anyone who took the exam in previous years, the Guardian browser is new and must be downloaded in order to sit the exam. The Guardian browser will be launched separately through your CKO examination profile. This browser provides additional exam security and stability over commercial browsers. We strongly recommend you install the Guardian browser prior to the day of the exam. Finally, you are strongly recommended to complete the platform tutorial, which is designed to help you get familiar with the exam software. On the exam day, you should be at your desk and ready to begin at least 30 minutes before the start of the exam. If you are more than 15 minutes late, you will not be permitted to write. No refund will be issued in these instances. You'll be required to show an original piece of unexpired, government-issued photo identification, such as a driver's license or passport, on the day of the exam. Health cards are not accepted. Please be aware that candidates will not be able to proceed with the exam if they cannot be properly authenticated. We encourage that you wear comfortable clothing as you will be writing the exam for 3.5 hours. Lastly, please review the COKO website for a list of permissible and non-permissible items during the exam. To prepare your workspace, you must remove any notes, books, and electronic devices from your desk. If possible, position your desk with a closed door behind you. Ensure your room is private and free from distractions. If you wear a watch, you'll be required to remove it, but you will be able to keep a few things on you, such as your photo identification, your cell phone, and also a beverage in a clear bottle if you have one. Please note that food will not be allowed unless you have a special accommodation that has been approved. To successfully launch your exam on exam day, you must log into your candidate portal and click the Launch Exam button at your exam time. You will be required to download and run the LogMeIn Rescue applet. This will allow you to chat with your proctor during the exam. After downloading, you will find it in the Downloads folder or your default download location. Once installed and running, you should be redirected to the proctor platform and will be connected to the exam proctor within 15 minutes of logging in. The launch process involves authentication of your identity, an environment check of your room and your computer, a person check to ensure you only have permissible items that you are allowed to bring into the exam with you, and a review of the exam rules, which will be provided by the proctor. Please note that this process does not count towards your exam time. During the exam, you're encouraged to read all instructions. If you do not understand what you have been told, ask the exam proctor before the exam officially begins. Also, be mindful of your time. You have 3.5 hours to complete the exam. Reminders will be given at the 1-hour mark, 30-minute mark, and 15-minute mark of the exam. If you do not know the answer to a question, you can skip it and return to it at a later time, provided you have not reached the halfway mark. If you still do not know the answer, make a guess. No points are deducted for wrong answers. We encourage you to pay attention to keywords in the questions. Please use the chat box to communicate with the proctor at all times. Also, remember to let the proctor know that you wish to take your scheduled break and when you return from the break. The exam is split into 2 parts. The first part of the exam is 1 hour and 45 minutes, followed by a 15-minute break. Candidates can choose to take a break after completing 100 questions or at the 1 hour and 45-minute mark. The total break is 15 minutes. However, in order for the proctor to resecure the exam room, candidates are required to return to the exam room after 10 minutes. The break is optional, and you may skip it and continue writing the exam. Please note that you will not be permitted to answer any questions in Part 1 after the break. The break will not be deducted from the allotted time of the exam. Both the college and the exam administrator take exam security very seriously. Breaches of the exam are reported in 3 main categories. The first, authentication, which is the inability of applicants to provide valid proof of their ID. The second, behavioral, which constitutes the continued use of unpermitted resources after a warning to discontinue such use has been given by the proctor. And lastly, exam security, which is a blatant attempt to capture exam content. If you require support with testing your equipment on the Measure Learning platform, or if you experience technical issues while writing the examination, please contact Measure Learning at the following: through the real-time chat, by phone at 1-855-772-8678, option 1, or through email at testingsupport@measurelearning.com. The college has a duty to accommodate to the point of undue hardship. This means that accommodation need not be provided if it causes the college undue or excessive hardship. Accommodations may be made for medical reasons at the discretion of the college, based on submission of supporting medical documentation. An accommodation to allow food will be made based on medical records at the discretion of the college. Please refer to our website for more information about accommodation requests. Applicants must pass the exam within 3 attempts or 4 years, whichever comes first. The first attempt of the exam must be taken within 1 year of paying the examination fee. It is important to note that applicants who exceed these timelines must be referred to the registration committee and be approved for an exemption prior to challenging the exam. After a third unsuccessful attempt at the exam, an applicant is not eligible to take the exam again until they complete another program in kinesiology offered at the bachelor level at an Ontario university or a substantially equivalent program. Applicants can defer writing the exam up to 15 days before the exam for any reasons if they are not ready and wish to write the exam at a later date. Applicants who no longer wish to proceed with the exam and withdraw at least 15 days before the date of the exam will receive a 50% refund of the exam fee. We cannot stress enough the importance of testing your computer on the Measure platform before and on exam day. This includes completing the necessary system checks, ensuring your webcam and audio work, and that you have a stable internet connection. Again, please ensure that your RAM and CPU are above the minimum recommended threshold. Also, it is important to confirm your booking. The booking is made in Eastern Standard Time. If you are writing the exam from outside of Ontario, remember to confirm the start date of the exam in your current time zone. If you experience any technical issues or miss your appointment, you can rebook your exam for the next business day at an additional fee of $160. The original exam fee will not be refunded. Exam results will be issued 4 to 6 weeks after the exam date. Immediately following the exam, candidates will be asked to complete a survey on their experience writing the exam, asking for suggestions on how to improve the exam and how their teaching institutions may have better prepared them to be successful. The survey is completely optional and anonymous. We encourage all candidates complete the survey as it will help us improve the exam process and inform programming at the institutional level. Once you have passed the exam, you will need to complete the Becoming Registered form. This will be included with the email you receive confirming your past results. You will need to submit a name-based criminal record check conducted within the last 6 months from your local police department. You'll have to obtain professional liability insurance, which protects both kinesiologists and their patients and clients. Lastly, you'll need to pay the college's prorated membership fee. It's important to finalize your registration within 1 year of receiving your exam results. If you do not, your application will require review by a registration committee panel. The longer you wait to become registered, the more likely it is that the panel may require you to rewrite the exam. Once registered with the college, all registrants participate in the college's ongoing quality assurance program. Each college is required to have a quality assurance program in place which is educational in nature and is designed to help kinesiologists keep their knowledge and skills up to date. At the college, there are several QA programs, such as continuing professional development and the self-assessment. We measure the impact of these programs and use the findings to make improvements that benefit the public. You will also need to follow the college's practice standards and guidelines. Practice standards outline the expectations for kinesiologists that contribute to public protection. They inform kinesiologists of their accountabilities and the public of what to expect of kinesiologists. You will also be required to adhere to the expectations for professional conduct. These include following the Code of Ethics and the requirements for mandatory reporting, which help protect the public by bringing important information to the college's attention. You will also be required to renew and pay your registration fee each year by August 31st. Thank you for your attention. Please visit our website at www.coko.ca for a listing of frequently asked questions on the exam. You may also contact us at examination@coko.ca.